Here is a speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Parsha Toldot. Parsha Toldot is the fourth book, the fourth chapter, or something, of the book of Genesis. Right? Is that right? What? No, fifth chapter. Fifth is one second. Let's get this. We have Bereshit, and then we have Noach, then we have Lech Lecha, then we have Vayera, then we have what we did yesterday, Chayesora. So it's a sixth. Okay, sixth. Chayesora. Then we have Toldot. And Toldot, this talks about the birth of Esav and Yaakov, twins. Now, Chassidut points out, put this back up over there. Chassidut points out that the Torah is the true news. You read a newspaper, you listen to whatever it is on the internet, news. So as much news as you listen to, it's only telling you what happened outside of you, and it's telling about things that already happened. So it's not really news. It's I guess as new as you can get. And who knows if it's true, and who knows if it's this. The Torah is not so. The Torah is telling you what's going on right now and how you should react to it. That's the true news, what's going on. What God, the Creator, is doing with the creation, and what is your responsibility to improve it. That's what the Torah is, the Torah. So every Torah portion of that week, of every different week, is giving a lesson which is fitting to that week. So if this week we're learning about the birth of Yaakov and Esav, and the twin brothers, right? Yaakov and Esav, and Yaakov who is good, and Esav who is the opposite, and the dynamics, the interaction between them. So this is coming to tell us something very special about ourselves and what we're supposed to do. More important than just about ourselves, what we are, but what we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to do. The Jews are here to change the world. Man is here to change the world. Man is here to improve the world. Like we learned before, just learned, to raise up sparks. We learned before that's the whole idea of the circumcision, that man is created in a certain way, and God wants us to change it. He wants us to change it. You have to remove the covering, so to speak. So that's why we're here. Okay. So what is the message, the special message to be learned from this week's Torah portion? And that's what the Lubavitcher Rebbe is going to talk about. That's what he's going to talk about. Yadu, it's known, Shebakol Rosh Chodesh, that every beginning of the month. Now, this coming Shabbat is the last Shabbat of this month, the month of Cheshvan, and it's blessing the coming month, which is Kislev, which I think that's going to be on Sunday, right? Sunday is Kislev. Let me have a look. 1 second. I have over here. I'm almost sure that's what it is. 1 second. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Oh, calendar. Here we go. Yes. Yes. No. I went too far. Okay. Yeah. So it ends up that the next month has 2 days of Rosh Chodesh. We'll explain that another time. The first day of Rosh Chodesh is always the 30th day of the previous month. And the second day is the first day. So the first day of Kislev is going to be Sunday night, because the Jewish day starts with the night. Sunday night. Okay. So this Shabbat is giving the blessing for next month. Next month is the month of Kislev. The most notable thing that happened in Kislev is the holiday of Chanukah. Chanukah is the last 5 days of Kislev and the first 3 days of the next month, which is Tevet. Kislev. But also in Chabad, there's a special big holiday in Kislev, and that is the 19th day of Kislev, which that's when the first Rebbe of Chabad got out of prison in Russia, which that's a story which will be told later, why he was put into prison. But anyways, it wasn't because he was a car thief or something like that. It was because he had enemies against his Hasidic ideas, and therefore they slandered him, and he was put into prison. But that's for another time. Suffice it to say that these two holidays, Chanukah and Yutet Kislev, Yutet is the 19th day of Kislev, this gives a special importance to the whole entire month of Kislev, of this month, to the degree that it's called the month of redemption, Chodesh HaGeula, or the month of the redemption. The Jewish people were redeemed from the Greek influence, and the first Rebbe of Chabad, he was redeemed from the anti-Hasidic influence. Hasidut was free, and both of them are connected with light. Chanukah, of course, is the holiday of lights, and Chanukah, and that's external light that we can see, and Hasidut is an internal light. That's why the first Rebbe of Chabad is called Shnei Or. He has two lights, two types of light. Okay, let's go. So we're entering in, right, this coming week, we're going to be entering into the month of Kislev. It's known that a Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of every month, there's a special general message which is common to all months. Every month has a beginning. What's the beginning of the month? That's when you see the first sliver of the moon, because in Judaism, the months are determined by the moon. And also, once like every 3 years, it's adjusted to be also according to the sun, so that the seasons, the months occur in certain seasons. Right, the month of Nisan, when there's Passover, always has to occur in spring. So therefore, there has to be an adjustment. But generally speaking, the months begin with the moon. When there's an empty moon, that's the end of the previous month, and when there's a sliver of a new moon, that's the beginning of the next month. So it says there's something common in the beginning of every month, some sort of a message, because everything in the world sends a message to the Jewish people, especially the time as it's divided into Judaism. It says in the beginning of the months, there's a special message. Shehu B'Kal Chodesh Hashanah. This message is being sent to us in all of the months of the year. Inyan Prati, that's the general message. And there's also an individual message, which is different in every single month. So in general, the world is sending to us messages about how to serve God and appreciate God and how to appreciate life and how to improve the world. But even in time, there's also a special message, and especially in every month, the beginning of every month, there's a general message, and there's also a specific message according to that individual month, 12 months of the year. Every month has its own unique message, as well as the general message, which is common to all beginnings of all the months. What are they? Yesh L'Ba'er, let's explain the special thing of the beginning of the month of Kislev. Whether in a general way, it's the beginning of the month, or in the individual way. It's stressed especially in this month of Kislev. Here it is, ready? Oh, and this is the main thing, the connection and the relevance of the Nakuda Ikaris, of the main point, which is found in the life of every Jew and in all of the Jews in the course of all of the generations, Jewish from the time of Abraham until now. The main theme of Judaism and the main theme of everyone's individual life is from the time of Abraham, 4,000 years ago, of Judaism and every Jew, Kol Yamei Chayecha Lavi Limot Mashiach. All of the days of your life should be devoted to bring to the days of Mashiach. That's the purpose of Judaism. That's the purpose of every Jew. That's the purpose of history, of the world, of mankind, is the Jews are supposed to do everything possible, all of the time and all of their life, their energy, to bring to Mashiach. Mashiach. Now, who is Mashiach? What is Mashiach? We'll find out. But that's the whole goal of Judaism. Listen, we see in Judaism that it depends on people, right? Abraham, the whole world opposed Abraham. He started Judaism. He didn't follow anybody. He followed only God. He started, and he wanted everybody else to do it also. That was the unique thing about him, why he was different from like Noah and everybody else. But he was like how do you say, an icebreaker. After that came Moses, one person that convinced everyone to do things that they would never do on their own. Go out of Egypt. Who would dream a thing like that? Nobody thought. So there has to be one person that changes all the priorities, all the paradigms of all mankind. King David was also a person like that. Everybody hated him. He was opposed by everybody. That's the book. Read the book of Psalms, right? Because he wanted to change the whole way that people thought about what God is. The Jews, he was for the Jews. So even the Jews didn't get the point. And the Rebbe says, no, I'm not giving up. The whole point of Judaism, the whole point of man, the whole reason that there's a world is that the Jews should do everything possible, each and every individual Jew, to bring to the days of the Mashiach. In other words, not just a person should come, all the changes that are going to accompany or that are going to be accomplished by this person called the Mashiach. Ubedarga Yetera, especially in our generation, but to Kuvotenu in our generation, and in our time. Like we said many times, recently, that everything necessary to bring Mashiach has already been done. And now all we have to do is accept the Mashiach, receive the Mashiach, actually, which that is two-sided. First of all, God has to send this person that is the Mashiach, and people have to accept it. People have to accept Mashiach. Okay, now just so that you don't get off to the wrong idea over here, Mashiach is going to be a person that basically, Mashiach is the Torah. He's going to return all of the Jewish people to do all of the commandments. He's going to strengthen Judaism wherever it is. He's going to fight the battles against everything that comes to weaken Judaism, all these other religions and the ones that claim to replace Judaism and New Testaments and things like that. He's going to negate all of that. The whole essence of what Mashiach is, everyone will feel the Creator. And everyone will feel that the Creator is the one who gave the Torah, took the Jews out of Egypt, gave them the Torah, and the Torah is the only workbook, the manufacturer's instructions, the only one for the whole entire world, for all mankind, the Torah, as it's interpreted by the rabbis. That's Mashiach. Mashiach is going to bring everybody back to trust the rabbis of the Talmud. That's Mashiach. Mashiach will bring the whole world to trust the interpretation of the rabbis of the Talmud, how they interpret the Torah. The commandments, what the 7 Noahide commandments are, what the 613 commandments, what the commandments of the rabbis are. But the whole world will be according to these holy men of the Talmud. That's the whole essence of what Mashiach is going to do. But mainly, everyone will feel that what these men of the Talmud told us to do is, how do you say, commensurate with our feeling that God is creating us. God is creating us. What do we do with this fact? That's what the Torah is for. That's what Mashiach is going to do. The whole world will be filled with the awareness of God, what God is doing for us and what we can do for him. That's basically the Holy Temple. The Holy Temple there was the tablets, the Torah was given. That's what God gave to us. And there was the altar on the outside, what we do for God, serving God. That's what one of the things Mashiach is going to do is build a temple and gather the Jews to Israel. Then all the commandments will be. So the main thing of Mashiach is Torah, and Torah, how it's explained by the rabbis. That's the main thing of Mashiach. And feeling God. Everyone will feel that they're being created by God, that God loves them. That's Mashiach. And we're supposed to do everything we can to facilitate his arrival. A person, just like Moses, a human being. And he'll bring about these changes, even greater changes than Moses accomplished. Okay, ready, let's go. This, says the Rebbe, is the job of every Jew, and it's the job of Chabad to wake up every Jew, and it's especially the job of those people who took on themselves to be emissaries, called shluchim. Shluchim. This idea of Rosh Chodesh is stressed in the name. Rosh Chodesh. That's especially stressed in the beginning of this month and the beginning of every month. Rosh Chodesh. It's called the head of the month. Chodesh, the whole idea of month in Judaism, comes from the word of renewal. Chidush. Chidush, the Moled Lavana, the moon becomes born anew. New moon. After the moon decreased in size. What's that called? Waning and waxing, right? The moon got smaller and smaller. The chitzia of Hasheni in the second half of the month. First half of the month, the moon waxes, gets bigger. The second part, it gets smaller and smaller. Achenit almo, until it becomes totally concealed. That's the day before the head of the month. As Nasit Holada, all of a sudden it gets born. Its birth, the ofen shall hitchachut. It's like it's brand new. All of a sudden, a new thing in the sky. Look, a sliver of light in the middle of the dark night. Amazing. In the language of the rabbis, nifkarata ki yifkod moshavecha. It says that you will be noticed. You will be noticed. Will pay attention because your place is empty. This comes from a story. Excuse me. With King David, before he was a king, well, actually, it had already been coronated, I guess, but that there's this really tragic story about King Saul, Shaul HaMelech, that he was a great, holy, tremendous genius, brave person, had all the qualifications of being a king. But he made a small mistake, a little tiny mistake, and so he was disqualified from being a king. But nevertheless, and then he was the king. He was coronated as the king. And King David was also coronated as the king after King Saul made this little mistake. But King David was coronated in secret by Samuel. So it ended up that there were really two kings. Saul was the king officially. How do you say de jure? Or maybe the other way, de facto, because he was the king de facto. He was Saul was the king. He had a crown. But King David was chosen to be king also. But that was what they called de jure. Legally, he was the king, and King David couldn't tell this to Saul. He couldn't let him know. But King Saul sensed something was going on. And then he was very jealous of King David, and he wanted to kill King David. He tried it a lot of times. And King Saul had a son called Jonathan that he loved King David. They were best friends. They were bosom friends, deeper than any sort of, brother, like brothers, deeper than brothers. So it's a tremendous love. And King David, Jonathan gave King David advice. Says, listen, my father wants to kill you, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see what you do. Tomorrow there's going to be a big meal, Rosh Chodesh. Don't come. And King Saul will notice. Yivkarata. He will notice. You will be noticed. Ki yifkod, because your place will be empty. Your place will be empty. And it ended up that King Saul got all angry and he threw a spear and he wanted to kill. A whole long story. But so it comes out the word nifkad has two opposite meanings. Nifkarata means that you will be visited, you will be noticed. Hashem pokadet Sorah, like says, you will be noticed. In other words, the king will put his attention to you. Ki yifkod, because it will be empty. So you will, so to speak, be there and you won't be there. This is the whole idea of the new month. That because Yifkod, because the month is missing, so therefore Nifkarata, God gives a special attention and he makes a new month. That's by means of what's missing of Yifkod Moshavecha, that your place is empty, but Dugmas Helam, like the concealment of the moon, Nasa Zichron will be, God will remember, and Nifkarata, he will give you a new moon. But Dugmas Mola Lavana, like the moon, is brand new. So we see that the beginning of the month is a renewal. It's a renewal. It's not just taking something old and doing cosmetic surgery on it to make it look young. It's making something totally new. The moon becomes a new moon. Even though that the fact is that this birth of the moon is just a little point. Hari liyota nakuda shaleda, because it is a point of giving birth. Nichlal, there's included in it kol hemshech achrei, which is after this. Just like the whole idea of a human being. A human being, in the whole course of his life, a lot of things, he does a lot of things, he accomplishes things, says things, he gets married, gives birth to more children. But the second that he's born and he comes to the world, right, then it's like the whole person is there. But it is nothing. What is it there? It's just a little nothing. A little baby that's born is, you can't tell if it's a human being, if it's an animal. I mean, it's shaped like an animal, but it has no sense. It can't speak. It can't talk. There's no benefit to it whatsoever. Totally helpless. Totally, how do you say, you can't get any benefit from it. There's a better word for it. He's helpless, and he can't help either. A baby can't do anything. It's worthless. Oh, worthless. A baby that's born, he's worthless. What can he do? He can't talk. He can't speak. You can't get him a job, get him a paper route or something, make a little money. A baby can't do anything. You have to just give him all the time. But it's a baby. It's infinitely different than nothing. Therefore, the beginning of the month, even though it's just a little tiny sliver, it's called the head of the month. It's like a head which contains the whole entire existence of a person, like a seed, contains the tree and all the fruits that come from the tree and all the trees that will come from those fruits, etc. Rosh Hashanah, like the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year is also the beginning of the month. It's the beginning of the month of Tishrei. And Tishrei are the letters Reshit, beginning. This is the beginning of the whole year. Like it says, B'kesel liyom chagenu, that God is covered over. And then it's covered over. That's the holiday of Rosh Hashanah, is when the moon is just a little tiny sliver. It was previous to that, it was totally covered over. It's covered over so that it becomes greater and greater and greater until finally it comes to the holiday of Sukkot. This is the holiday. Here, Rosh Hashanah is Yom Chagenu. Here it's talking about Chagenu. I'm sorry, not Sukkot. I made a mistake. Here it's talking about Bechesa. The moon is covered over. LeYom Chagenu, so that it will be revealed for Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is called Yom Chagenu. It's the holiday. Rosh Hashanah is the holiday that the month is covered over in it. The world and Helam, concealment, and the covering of the moon. And after this becomes birth. It's brand new. That this includes all of the existence which comes afterwards. Therefore, it's called Rosh, the call Shana Kula. Okay, what's the point the Rebbe is trying to get to? Point is like this. In Yanabavoda, this and the implications of this in the service we're supposed to serve God, the service of the Jewish people to God, that the Jewish people are compared to the moon, and the Jewish people also count their months according to the moon, and the Jewish people are going to be renewed like the moon. Hachirush, the novelty which is made in the world by means of the service of the Jewish people, means that the world will be made new. Maybe we can say Shagam Lakein, therefore, the months are called Chadshei Chem, your months, namely your renewal. The renewal of the world to be something new is up to the Jewish people. Until Shechirush, a novelty which is made in the Jewish people also. The Jewish people, they become renewed. Not just that they produce renewal, but their whole existence of the Jewish people, that becomes renewed. That by means of the service of the Jewish people in the world, the Jewish people become elevated to a totally higher level than they were before they were when they came into the world. The soul, as it is up in heaven, so it can't do good deeds, and it can't give birth to other souls, and it can't really benefit anybody. A soul is pure selfish, the soul up in heaven. There are stories that souls come and they give advice to people. But generally speaking, the soul in heaven is just up there basking in the rays of God and getting pleasure on its own. Like a person in an old folks home or something like that, in a home for the elderly. You're just receiving all the time. You're retired. You're tired. Well, when the soul comes down into the world, even though it comes down into the form of a helpless child, and a child that is also Value has no value to it. Can't help anybody, right? It doesn't help. But nevertheless, it's the beginning of something brand new. It's the beginning of something totally lacking in the upper worlds. The potential to do, it's revealed because it's revealed actual, and that's what's going to be the future redemption of the Moshiach we talked about before. It's going to be something brand new. It'll be revealed, the Geula Mitit Shlema, by means of David, Malchut Mashiach, by means of King David. The King David is the Mashiach, like it says, David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayom. Like it says, King David is alive and well. King David lived how long ago? 2,500 years ago. And it says clearly that he died, right? We learned in the Haftorah. What was it last week? Was it last week? 2 weeks ago? last week. King, huh? Just one second. How did it go? No, that's right. Last week, learned that King David was dying, and King David, and he died, right? King David. And so, how can it possibly be that he's alive? It says, don't worry. It seems that he was dead, but he really wasn't dead. King David is still alive. And King David, Maimonides says that he was the first Messiah, and we're waiting for the second Messiah that's going to be Mashiach ben David. David or Malchuto, and King David and his kingship are compared to the moon. Yesh Lomer, we can say, Shebarosh Chodesh, that in the first of the beginning of this month is revealed to every single Jew. The beginning of the month is when the moon becomes new. So the beginning of every single month is revealed a new moon, and the moon is compared to the Jewish people. This is the spark of Mashiach, the renewal, which is in the world and in every single Jew. There's 5 levels of the soul, 3 levels. The lowest level is called nefesh, and above that is what's called ruach, and the dimension of awareness, which is above that, is called neshama. And above that is called Chaya. And the 5th level, which is privy only to the Jews, that's called Yechida. That's where the Jews are called the sons of God. Shu nitzutz mibechinas Yechida. This is the spark from this level of Yechida Klalit, the general aspect of Yechida. That's the soul of the Mashiach. That's the soul of the Mashiach, which is present in every Jew. Renewal. Every instant becomes brand new. It becomes a surprise. Every instant. A gift. The Gilui, this revelation, this makes a renewal, this revelation of this level of Yechida, that's hinted at by Rosh Chodesh, this little sliver, this brings a renewal in all existence, and everything that you do, everything that you are, and the whole world becomes permeated with this level of Yechida. Namely, the purpose for which God is creating everything. So God is creating everything in the world. We don't see it, but God is creating everything. That's amazing. That's amazing. If you could see that and feel it, amazing. You're being created by God. God loves you. Huh? You're not alone. You're never alone. God is always with you, and God cares about you. He's your best friend. He's creating. You can talk to God. God answers you. You have a feeling of comfort, a feeling of courage. The guy's with you, but that's only half of the story. The other half of the story, God wants something from you. God wants you to do things. That's this aspect of Yechida. Yechida is that dynamic. We have to do something. Everything is brand new, and we have to jump on the train of renewal. By means of this is revelation, and these galos, ubiyat, and the arrival of the Mashiach. If we live in this world, because what all Mashiach is going to do is just awaken what's hidden inside of us, what's hidden inside of the world. But that's a big renewal, like the moon. The moon is just revealed. It was always there, but the fact that it was revealed, that's an amazing novelty. Just like a baby when it's in the womb of his mother. So the baby, let's just start from 8-9 months previously. So it was there. The egg was fertilized. So the baby is there. So it grows up. And it becomes, but that's the baby is already there, right? That's what's wrong with these people that say make excuse me, abortions. It's nothing up that. It's like a little, whatever it is, a little sort of a pebble inside of the mother. It's just an extra thing. It shouldn't be there at all. It's like a little spit or something like that. You just get rid of it, right? Something stuck between your teeth. That's what a fetus is. It's not so. That's not so. A fetus is a human being. Good. It's a potential human being. It's a human being in the beginning stages, but nevertheless, there's the human being there. So what's the big deal about birthday, the day you're born? It was already there because birthday is revelation. It's revealed. And when it's revealed, what's revealed? Nothing, a blob of something that's just breathing and screaming, right? And heart beating. There's no humanity there. There's no benefit. But it's like the sliver of the moon. It has no personality. It has nothing, but it's the beginning. It's it's renewal. It's showing the idea of something from nothing. Melech mi Beit David, that's the idea of the Mashiach, that there's going to be a king from the house of King David, and he's going to transform the whole entire world. And this is especially, that's the beginning of every month, but this is especially in the month of Kislev, because the month of Kislev has a special quality to it, and this we're going to talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. Just listen to the first line. Shemo, the name of the month of Kislev, is Kes, which means covering, and Lamed Vav, which is 36, that shows on revelation. Why does revelation, Lamed Vav, 36? We're going to talk about that more, God willing, tomorrow. And now, let's do the Yom Yom. 1 second, let's just go over here.